Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to A Night with Buddha here to Kulturfestivaler teater in Stockholm. So sorry for 3.5 minutes because we just had some problem in the door, but now we could start. We are very happy to have all of you with us tonight. A Night with Buddha began around 14 years ago in Bamiyan, Afghanistan as a cultural and community-based initiative focusing on dialogue, artistic inspiration, cultural memory, and collective awareness around culture and cultural heritage. Over the years, the program has brought together artists, writers, musicians, activists, and local communities through discussion, music, poetry, storytelling, and artistic participation. And today, for the 5th year, A Night with Buddha continues outside Afghanistan, creating a space for dialogue, memory, music, and cultural connection across border in exile in Stockholm. Tonight's program, including 2 parts. The first part is our panel discussion with title Destruction of Cultural Heritage During War, Vandalism, War Crimes, or Genocide. The second part of tonight's program is the musical performance by the name of Songs of Survival. So tonight, alongside rich conversation around culture, history, memory, and society, we will also share a musical evening filled with different voice, language, and artistic traditions. We hope you will stay with us through in this night, and the program will continue until around 7:30. Before we begin, just a short practical note that for your safety, emergency exits are located in the left. All those glass doors that you need to know about it. And in case of emergency, please follow the emergency sign. And the program live streaming, and you can, after the program, just watching or find it in the YouTube of Kulturfestivaler teater. And now, as mentioned, we will begin with the panel discussion. And I need to tell you now, please welcome Åsa Stensvik. Åsa Stensvik is a safe haven coordinator and producer at Kulturfestivaler teater, where she works with cultural dialogue, artistic exchange, and international cultural collaboration. And she is the ICORN board member in Sweden, Stockholm. Please welcome Åsa Stensvik.
Please have a seat. Welcome, everyone, and welcome to the panel. And now Zahra is going to switch personalities to be an expert from being the host. She has many talents. So my name is Åsa Stensvik. I work at Kulturfestivaler teater here, and I work with a safe haven program for artists at risk. And I want to start with thanking our partners at the Stockholm University that has been the driving force in putting together this magnificent panel. And they have enormous knowledge of cultural heritage from different perspectives. I think that's really interesting. It's both practically and through research and other forms. And in A Night with Buddha, you know, it starts with Afghanistan, but we are, of course, exploring other places as well. Cultural heritage is threatened and destroyed in many places, for example, in Ukraine, in Gaza, in Yemen, and many, many other places. So this is a very global issue and question that we will talk about. So I will present our panel. It's Zahra Hussaini. She is, as you know, Afghan cultural and human rights activist who works to promote human rights and women's rights in Afghanistan and internationally through cultural festivals, theater, sporting events, among other initiatives. And you have led a high-profile campaign for women's rights to participate in cycling races. It was a huge movement, and you were nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize for that, which I think is...
I want just to mention, not me.
With others.
Yes.
With others. And you're also a very humble person. And you were Stockholm's artist in residence in 2021, and you have lived in Sweden ever since. Yeah, so I will continue with all the others, and then you will talk a little bit about different things. So Mark, you are a professor and head of international law program at Stockholm University. And in your research, you write about efforts to use legal means to prevent and punish attacks on cultural heritage. And you have also recently published the book, Genocide, Sweden and the Struggle Over a Concept. Yeah, it's an interesting word, you know, it sets off a lot of things. So happy to have you here. Lotta Schylleqvist, you're a journalist who has worked as correspondent based in Jerusalem. You're the author of the book Marnas hemlighet, berättelser från Gaza, Marna's Secret, Stories from Gaza. It was recently translated to Arabic, which I think that book has a journey of itself, and has contributed to several anthologies on the Middle East. For several years, she has worked on freedom of expression issues, including with Reporters Without Borders and ICORN, and is currently working with the non-profit organization Swedish Gaza Archive, that we will hear a little bit more about soon. And then, Isa Blumi, by my side, you're a professor of Turkish and Middle Eastern Studies at Stockholm University in the Department of Asian and Middle Eastern Studies. You conduct research on societies undergoing social, economic, and political transformations, and your latest work covers the late Ottoman period and subsequent regimes, and argues that events in the Balkans and the Middle East are the engines of change in the wider world. So, as you can see, it's an impressive and interesting panel we have. So, how we will do this is that each of the panelists will speak for 5 minutes about their angle on cultural heritage. So, we will start with Zahra. It would be so interesting to hear you speak a little bit about A Night with Buddha, because it's really about cultural heritage protection on a very practical note.
Thank you, Osan. Thank you, everyone. I wanted to tell first that I'm trying to first read out to written in the paper starting, but after thinking about it, because it's a very long time that we work with A Night with Buddha, so it would be easy to just write it down and starting to use it this. It was better to save the time. A Night with Buddha in Afghanistan, yeah. A Night with Buddha, I think, began around 14 years ago in Bamiyan as a culture and community-based initiative created by artists, cultural activists, experts, writers, and also those volunteers. Especially, I'm thankful from the Bamiyan local communities because they made it a lot to have this program in Bamiyan until 2021. Over the years, artists, musicians, poets, writers, students, and every one of those people that helped us in this program, trying to make these things that we wanted to bring dialogue, we wanted to bring artist experience, and also reflection and cultural participation on that city of the middle of Afghanistan. And also, in the beginning, the program was not easy or maybe not understood by the local people, not just in Bamiyan, in other side of Afghanistan also. And also they didn't want to accept it, these things, that we could have the A Night with Buddha in Bamiyan. But what we made this program meaningful to have those local people and the other people inside Afghanistan, especially in Bamiyan, because we're starting to say that, you know, it's not just coming here and saying about this thing that happened in 2001 by the Taliban to destroy the Buddha statues and other archaeological site place, especially the National Museum in Kabul and other places like the Archive, National Archive. It's also your responsibility as a human when you live in this city, when you live in this village full of the cultural heritage sites. And they are starting to be part of this program, not just as an audience. So one of the most important parts of this program was the panel, and now is also the panel discussion, because we thought when we bring this panel discussion, it means that we wanted to raising awareness about those things that happened before and what we do as a human being, responsibility for the next generation also. And also, we didn't forget that when we talk about culture, two things is so important. The cultural heritage is like intangible and tangible cultural heritage. So the intangible cultural heritage bring the music, dance, poetry, and everything. And so we're starting to say it's also part of A Night with Buddha. We wanted to invite those people that wanted to bring these things on a stage and promoted them to be on a stage in Bamiyan. And I remember, when I remember these things, I want to mention in 2021, March, the last year that we could make this program in Bamiyan, Fahim Mirzai in front of the Buddha statue dancing Sama. And it was so meaningful for me because the people accepted these things. That is the art, part of the culture, and it's meaningful to be in Bamiyan. But after 2021, we couldn't do anything like this in Bamiyan, Afghanistan. For many people, the Buddha statue of Bamiyan were never only historical monument. Bamiyan itself has long been a living cultural landscape connected to memory, identity, diversity, and community life. When the statues were destroyed in 2001, it was not only the destruction of monument, it also affected collective memory, historical connection, cultural identity, and the relationship between people and their heritage. The purpose of A Night with Buddha from the very beginning also starting to say is not just remember this date, 9 to 11th of the March, is also to speak about the importance of the preventing similar acts of cultural destruction anywhere in the world. Maybe on that day in 2001 it was Bamiyan, Afghanistan, but after that we heard about Palmyra, we heard about other places in the world, and now it's not so far, it's Ukraine. You know, other place, maybe the museum, the archive is destroyed it, or maybe other place also. Because cultural destruction does not only erase physical heritage, it can also weaken memory, belonging, and the connection between communities and their history. But these destructions bring a lot of things to us. The collective will to remember through gathering, dialogue, storytelling, music, and artistic experience. People continue to protect cultural memory and resist forgetting. After 2021, many artists, musicians, writers, and cultural workers from Afghanistan were forced into exile, and many cultural spaces inside the country become restricted or disappeared. Today, the situation for culture, education, and artistic expression in Afghanistan remains deeply difficult. Afghanistan is currently the only country in the world where girls abused 16 girls are banned for formal education. Unfortunately, many women have also been excluded from education, artistic work, and public cultural life. Music and artistic expressions have become increasingly restricted, and many musicians and artists have either left the country to continue their work under pressure, like me as a cultural activist, or maybe so many of you knows the other one. But even in exile, culture did not stop. The important thing is this one. When people lost access to physical cultural heritage, such as a historical place, monument, or cultural space, intangible cultural heritage become even more important. Music, storytelling, poetry, dance, language, artistic experience, and everything like this is a part of these things that we talk about it. For this reason, A Night with Buddha has always tried not only to remember cultural heritage, but also to keep living cultural active through artistic participation and public gathering. Programs like tonight's, the music part, are not only performance. They are also part of the protecting and continuing intangible cultural heritage through music, voice, memory, and artistic experience. So for that reason, I think A Night with Buddha trying to be a voice for those things that I want to advocate for cultural heritage, and I hope that it's continue not just here, everywhere. As a human being, I think the cultural heritage, world cultural heritage, is not just for one space or one country. Is belong to everyone that live in this world.
Thank you, Zahra. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's so fascinating, this story of continuous living cultural heritage and the protection of it and everything that it starts. And I mean, it is a struggle and a fight. And Mark, you have your angle to cultural heritage is from a legal point of view. So could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes. So a quarter of a century ago, the world watched in horror as the Taliban destroyed the Bamiyan Buddhas. Tonight we gather not only to remember what was lost, but to understand why the destruction of cultural heritage matters so profoundly, and what law can do to prevent such acts. When we think about genocide, we often think about the mass killings of people. But the man who coined the term genocide, that was in 1944, Raphael Lemkin, had a broader vision. Already in the 1930s, a decade before he coined the term, Lemkin proposed criminalizing two acts that were interconnected. The first one was barbarism, the physical destruction of human groups, but also vandalism, destruction of cultural works and monuments. For Lemkin, these were two sides of the same coin. He understood something crucial. You can destroy a people not only by killing them, but by erasing their culture, their language, their monuments, everything that gives them identity and continuity. When Lemkin drafted his proposal for the Genocide Convention, this was after World War II, he included cultural genocide as one of the three categories, alongside physical and biological genocide. But here's what happened. When states debated the Genocide Convention, they erased cultural genocide. Sweden was one of the countries because we were afraid that it would turn against us because how we treated the Sami people. The delegate from Belarus warned that this deletion would mean that crimes against the culture, religion, or language of a group would remain unpunished. He was right to be concerned. The final convention focused on physical and biological destruction. Lemkin's vision of protecting cultural heritage as a part of preventing genocide was rejected. Some argued that it was too broad. Others said it belonged under human rights law, not genocide law. The International Court of Justice later confirmed this narrow interpretation, stating that destroying historical, cultural, and religious heritage does not constitute genocide, even when done deliberately to eliminate all traces of a group's presence, which is somewhat a depressing stance. However, this doesn't mean that cultural destruction is going unpunished. It took a different legal path through the laws of war. And this protection evolved gradually. The 1907 Hague Regulations, the 1949 Geneva Conventions, the 1954 Hague Convention, the first treaty exclusively about cultural property. And finally, the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, 1998, made destruction of cultural property a war crime. This culminated in 2016 with the Al-Mahdi case at ICC. It concerned Mali. It was the first conviction solely for destroying cultural heritage. Ahmed Al-Mahdi was sentenced to 9 years for attacking mausoleums and mosques in Timbuktu, Mali. The court recognized that attacks on cultural property are attacks on humanity itself, on our shared heritage, and on the identity of community. And then the question is, why does this matter today? Where does this leave us? We have two parallel systems. Genocide law protects groups from physical and biological destruction. War crimes law protects cultural heritage from destruction during armed conflict. But there's a gap. Lemkin understood that destroying a people's culture is a way of destroying the people themselves. Modern law treats these as separate issues. Think about what we've witnessed. The Bamiyan Buddhas in 2001, Palmyra in Syria by ISIS, the ongoing threats to Ukrainian cultural sites. When the Taliban destroyed the Buddhas, Afghanistan wasn't in an armed conflict in that very moment. When China demolishes Uyghur mosques and graveyards, it claims to be at peace. These acts fall between the cracks in an unfortunate way of our legal framework. So tonight, as we honor the memory of the Bamiyan Buddhas, we must ask ourselves, was Lemkin's attempt to include cultural destruction in the Genocide Convention merely a sidetrack, or was he ahead of his time? I believe he was right. The destruction of cultural heritage is not just about stones and buildings. It's about erasing identity, breaking continuity, silencing voices that have spoken for centuries. The good news is that international law is evolving. The Al-Mahdi's conviction shows that the international community is taking these crimes seriously, but we need to go further. We need to recognize that protecting cultural heritage is inseparable from protecting human rights groups themselves. Thank you for the organizers for keeping the memory of the Bamiyan Buddhas alive through this event. Through memory, discussion, and action, we ensure that what was destroyed is never forgotten, and that we work harder to prevent such destruction in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I feel like everyone wants to comment on anything, because it's a lot of interesting things coming up, but we will have a small discussion soon. So, Lotta, you have, could you tell us a bit about the Swedish Gaza archives and the process of creating it? I think this really connects to the cultural heritage with the memory and keeping the memory.
Yes, I can start by saying that the Swedish Gaza archive doesn't exist yet. We are working on building it. And I will give you some background. I have been working as a journalist all my life, and the last 2 decades mostly in the Middle East. I was based in Jerusalem for 4 years as a correspondent for Dagens Nyheter. And during that time, I, so to say, discovered Gaza. I went there quite often and continued reporting from Gaza, mostly when bad things happened, like attacks or disasters or floods or whatever it was. And when I resigned from my correspondent post in 2006, and I started. I finished my employment in Dagens Nyheter and continued as a freelancer. And I continued going back to Gaza, and I had a very strong feeling that people don't know anything about Gaza. Gaza is a totally unknown territory if you just see it through the eyes of the media, because you just hear about the misery and the violence and the threats and all that. And I knew from these years I spent there visiting. I mean, I didn't live there, but I visited over and over again. And I got a lot of friends, and I met a lot of interesting both projects and things that people were doing. So I had a very strong feeling I need to tell all these stories in another form. So I wrote a book. You mentioned it, Mannas hemlighet. And it was first published in 2010. And then after 7th of October, now 23, it was published again in a new version and also in Arabic. It was translated into Arabic. And that's after this incident from October 23, I started talking with a friend and colleague of mine, Mia Gröndal. She's also a writer, journalist, photographer. She has spent even more time in the Middle East than I have. And she also has spent a lot of time in Gaza. So we started talking about there is so much, so to say, destruction of everything. I mean, because I was in touch with people still there. All the people I know have lost their homes. I don't know anyone who still lives in his own home. And all the places that we knew, I mean, the hotels, the cultural institutions and whatever, everything is just flattened. I think more than 90% of the buildings in Gaza are destroyed. So we got a very strong feeling we need to collect at least the small pieces of heritage from Gaza that has been collected by Swedish people and enterprises going on in Gaza. There is quite a long history of Swedish connections with Gaza. It began in the 1956 to 67. There were Swedish UN soldiers based there as peacekeepers. So they are a group of persons. I'm trying to track them down now because they are quite old. And I want to interview them and get their memories from their posting in Gaza and so on. This is part of the work with the archive. But what Mia Gröndahl and me, we started with contacting all the people we could think of that have had any kind of business in Gaza. Like not only journalists, but culture workers, diplomats, business people, church people, and archaeologists, and so on. I think we contacted around 100 persons and got very positive, enthusiastic even answers. That it's a great idea, and I have this and that material, and so on. But so far we haven't collected anything because we started thinking, what can we do? We cannot just collect a lot of things and have them at home. What can we do? So we formed a non-profit association, the Swedish Gaza Archive. It started like 6-7 months ago, and none of us in the board of this organization know anything about how to create an archive. So we have been, trying to find this knowledge from different people. And we have also started talking with the Museum of the Mediterranean, Medelhavsmuseet.
Mediterranean Museum, I think it's called.
Here in Stockholm. So now last week, we made an agreement with them that they will be, so to say, the formal home of the archive, which is, for us, a big step forward because it gives us also a platform for applying for funding. Because, of course, it's a lot of costs involved in this. Collecting the things and digitalization and all that. And this is, of course, the big stepping stone for us. Where can we find the funding? We have no idea yet. Or we have some ideas, but no.
I bet you have some ideas.
Maybe if someone has any good advice to give us, we're so happy for that. And I can also tell you what is the idea of this archive. The idea is, of course, first of all, I think archive is kind of an activism. It's like preserving identity and memory, because if you don't have a memory of the past, you cannot really see the future. It's and in our case, we will just get a kind of a small corner of the big picture of what Gaza has been and should be in the future. So I think I'm very interested if there is anyone here in the audience who have ideas or contacts or anything, or someone who was in Gaza, or I get now and then messages from people say, "Oh, I have an old neighbor and he was in Gaza, and these guys are like 80 plus." So that's why I'm really eager to try and get in touch with as many of them as possible. before.
Thank you so much, Lotta. And I think this has to do also with the Night with Buddha, with commemorating and keeping the memory, but also looking forward. And let's turn to you, Isa Blumi. I know that you're interested in the ethics and also sometimes the conflict of interests when it comes to cultural heritage. And you have also other geographical sites to add to the conversation, I know.
So if I could contribute to this event, which is very much appreciated, and I'm full support of this initiative. I can come at it from different angles, as a scholar, as an advisor to students who are looking into these kinds of questions in regards to protection of heritage of Middle Eastern monuments to archives. But I've just now realized that I should maybe start by introducing myself as someone who was on the ground in Kosovo, in the Balkans at the end of the 1990s, where we faced a very similar kind of transitional moment where we had war, we fought for independence, it was a war of survival, and one of the dynamics in the way the war was actually implemented was the destruction of cultural heritage, the attempt to eviscerate, to erase evidence of a people, of Albanians, was a policy that had been ongoing for decades, but this was really playing itself out in front of our eyes. What's very interesting to me, however, and I think is useful for this conversation, is that immediately at the end of the war, when NATO, UN, United States entered in and claiming themselves to be liberators, I was in the position of being a member of the provisional government, and one of my primary concerns was, one, to collect evidence of war crimes, of mass murder, mass graves, and the destruction of heritage. And one of the first things that was told to me very directly from the OSCE and UN offices is that this is not our priority. There are politics that are intervening. We don't want you to pursue a collection of evidence of war crimes because that would complicate our relationship with other parties that were involved in the war. Secondly, we don't have money to engage in preservation of what still remains or what can be rehabilitated. So here we see very quickly that there are certain dynamics that influence and shape where priorities are given and where they're not. And I think that's an interesting part of the Bamyan story, which I'm not going to bring up, but it's something for us to be a little weary of as we move forward. Careful about how and who actually embraces our projects and for what reason. And again, I'm now going to draw on other understandings of Palmyra was brought up, Timbuktu, certainly other areas which has seen quite violent interactions from the outside world, and in many ways a very interesting organized way, an organized violence that in the case of Iraq or in the case of Syria, in case of Yemen, of Sudan, heritage was destroyed, but a very selective destruction. Often there were cases of, prior to the actual destruction, of scholars from the West, very, very innocently, provide scholars from the West, very, very innocently, providing and availing information about the richness of these libraries suddenly attracts the attention of collectors who know buyers in neighboring countries who would love to have this very rare volume. And you would actually see war being conducted to target certain personal libraries where individual books would be removed and you could steal whatever else you want. This volume we want in the black market. This volume we want for a buyer in Switzerland or in Saudi Arabia, etc. So I'm saying this because we have a long problem in our countries where our art, our history, our heritage has been targeted for plunder. We know that notoriously, much of the museums in Britain, in Germany, and elsewhere in Europe are filled with artifacts of our people's heritage. We know that countries are trying to repatriate their priceless collections that give essence and a backbone to their societies, and there's enormous pressure from other interested parties who refuse to allow this very decent gesture to return things back to where they rightfully belong. And unfortunately, a lot of the justifications for this were the same ones that were given to me at the end of 1999. Well, you people don't know how to handle your heritage. Look what you've done to your world. You've destroyed your country. You're blowing up statues, you're burning down churches, you're attacking your neighbors. And the kind of browbeating that comes with this kind of discourse about selective preservation, selective persecution of those who commit crimes against humanity by destroying heritage worries me. Not so much with this audience in this particular context, but unless we actually bring our collective passions for preserving Bamyan, its message about Afghanistan. I would love a day for Afghanistan, for the people of Afghanistan, not just a particular set of statues that for some reason outsiders decided that needed to preserve it and offering lots of money to preserve it, to even cut it out and take it to Japan. That doesn't sound like a very much a gesture of solidarity or appreciation of Afghanistan. And it's been repeated so often, and it's ongoing, that I think we need to pair our resources and take advantage of the incredible energy that Zahra and Hayat and others are bringing to this story about Bamyan, and find a way to make this meaningful for all of us who are struggling to actually find people who are interested in preserving collectively human history and heritage and dignity in the process. So thanks for the opportunity, and I'm more than happy to be of assistance moving forward in this regard. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what you're painting is also, in my opinion, when I listen to it, it's about greed in a way, and about other reasons for the destruction of the cultural heritage. And so my next question, and of course you can comment on each other's presentations now that you had. I think we should talk a little bit about the reasons that you brought up now from one side, and because we see that cultural heritage are destroyed, and they seem to be targeted. So what is it in the cultural heritage that is so dangerous or so powerful that they should be destroyed? I mean, what's the purpose of destruction? Anyone wants to comment on that? Maybe Zahra, you have an idea? Or
yeah, it would be maybe other ones that, but I just wanted to mention this thing, that in situation now in Afghanistan, when you see the situation in Afghanistan, maybe you can find it this reason why. When the people have this knowledge about the story, about their culture, and about identity, and about those things that they maybe lose it in the past, but they wanted until now to protect it. So they bring the Taliban to fear from that. So they wanted to say, no, that knowledge is not good for the girl, but on the other side also you can see it's not just for the girl, also for the boys. Because when they opened not the school, the madrasa for the boys, I think it's bringing this, they are fair about the people to know about their history and about identity and everything. And especially I wanted to point it in about Bamyan. When the Taliban destroyed the Buddha statues in 2001 in Bamyan, it's not just, I think, to destroy a monument. It was to belong to an identity inside the Afghanistan, central Afghanistan, Bamyan, that they wanted to show that is part of a very long history, like the Silk Route and everything that bring of the East and West together. So they wanted to destroy these things. And especially in that cities lives the Hazara community. And also they had not just Hazara people that lives there, also the other cities around this Bamiyan. They wanted to have a very good connection together, relation. But I think this brings something that they wanted to, like, forgetting.
Like to split the
Yeah, exactly.
people.
Maybe it's some of those things. I'm not sure that I could answer this so exactly, but I thought it's some of those reasons. And also, I remember these things that when we talk about culture and cultural heritage, all the time we thought maybe it's about monuments, museums, archives, and everything. Yes, it's important. But sometimes, as a people, as a human, we forgot. We are also part of this culture. For example, these clothes that I maybe wear, or maybe this language that I speak about it, or these things that I have some memory from the very beginning that I was in the family, that I lost my father and my mother. They singing song for me, but sometimes we forgot everything. They wanted to cut this memory from the past, and the new generation to forget what's happened in their life, maybe.
Anyone else has a comment on that? Mark, maybe?
Well, I mean, you've already mentioned greed, identity. It's also a question of power, where you have groups who, in their efforts to control a country or a region, they feel a need to erase history. I mean, we've seen that in other conflicts, and in a sense, to start on a clean slate, that there's nothing before them, and in that will help their goal of assuming total power. So that's how I would perceive it.
And about the things that you brought up, Isa, I mean, when you talk about the legal pathways and the ways of bringing justice to this, how is that? That must be complicated when the politics come in there and the other interests. Like, how would that be? How would the strategies be to move forward in that type of environment?
Well, at the moment it's difficult to do that within a country such as Afghanistan, but as we can see, we have international courts which can take on these type of cases. But we also have domestic courts. Here in Sweden, we've had something like 24 trials relating to genocide, war crimes, and atrocities, these type of atrocities. And one of the cases was last year. It related to events in Syria, where a Swedish woman, she traveled to Syria and joined the IS-Daesh. And she kept women and children from the Yazidi group in her home as slaves and forced them to convert to the IS version of Islam. And she was convicted here in Stockholm District Court not only for keeping these peoples as slaves, but also for genocide, for forcing the children to leave their group and go to another group. And the Stockholm District Court, it said that this was not only a genocide in the physical sense, it was also a genocide from a social and cultural perspective. So they brought in this perspective. So, I mean, you were asking how can you in a legal way confront this. So, I mean, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, because I'm thinking if there are courts in different geographical places, maybe there would be a way to circumvene a little bit the local conflicts of interest somehow. I don't know if you internationalize it more, is it possible to bring those people to justice that actually destroy the cultural heritage?
Well, the idea is that some values or some things, they're a kind of a concern for all, not only for the people living in a country. So I mean, the protection of life, but also in a sense, the protection of culture is a concern for everyone, and it's following that logic that it's also our responsibility if we can do something to do it.
I would love more attention paid to some of our more privileged fellow citizens who partake in the purchasing of stolen artifacts. Maybe be more honest with our displays we have in our museums. This was stolen from Benin in the 19th century. This was stolen from Afghanistan in the 1950s. To maybe educate afresh all of us to think again, so how did these things get here? Why is some millionaire in Lideno have something that is actually stolen in the context of war, able to display this to friends and think that he's or she is above the law? Maybe we could direct some of our energies in going after those who facilitate and profit from war, whether arms industries, which I know is a big faux pas, you don't touch that in some of our countries, but maybe even at a more modest level, those who plunder from war. And as a consequence, destroy heritage. It's not always intertwined, but they are certainly facilitators for the military destructive dynamics that we see play out in countries in the Middle East, throughout Africa, ongoing. No one talks about it. I mean, we don't even go after those who profit from plundering raw materials, gold from. I mean, there was this concept of blood diamonds for a moment. There's blood gold and there's blood cuneiform tablets and manuscripts. And I think we should begin to start framing it in those terms and ostracize those who partake in this kind of business.
No, we had in a previous A Night with Buddha, we had some people here working with the customs and like working together with the police and the museums in creating the red lists and so on. So I'm happy to know that there are some initiatives, but I think you're really right that when it becomes uncomfortable and too close to power and so on, it's really important that you have critical scholars, but also other activists and people in all different parts of society that can shed some light on that. So I think it's really interesting with that type of alliances from different areas of the society that can join to protect the cultural heritage. And I'm thinking a lot of, for example, when you work with the archive, that's really a grassroots movement somehow, that you're collecting these things, knowledge and items and so on. And the same when you worked in Bamyan. So what do you think, all of you? What is the role of the local community, the international organizations, and also people in exile? I mean, you have relocated to Sweden, and I know that you have also, I mean, all of you have been around, so to speak. So what do you think about how can we create like a really strong network to protect cultural heritage? Lotta, for example.
I can tell you about a very interesting example that I heard about just recently. There is located in Birzeit in the West Bank, there is the Palestinian Museum, which is based, I think, in Holland. So it's not a Palestinian. It's not based in Palestine. That gives it some chances of working without being disturbed. But they collected an exhibition about Gaza. They couldn't go to Gaza to collect things, but they sent out a message all over the West Bank and found a lot of Gazans living in the West Bank that have brought things from Gaza. So they built an exhibition from, so to say, exiled material from Gaza. And now this exhibition, it's growing. It's called Gaza Remains the Issue, and it's now digital, so you can download it anywhere. It will be presented in Gothenburg next year, and so you can sort of say, you don't have to travel with the things because you have like the digital form of everything and can arrange exhibitions all over the world. And it's growing and growing and growing. So it's kind of a museum without borders. That's a very interesting way of sort of say, to keep the heritage, not only keep it, but also keeping it alive and to give it to new generations. That's and you can find this on their website. I think it's called Palestinian Museum. I think I wrote it down here, maybe.
Yeah, it is. I checked it.
palmuseum.org.
So I think maybe you have some other comments on this with how to align with others to for the protection of the cultural heritage. I mean, for example, the universities, or how is that? You're laughing.
Well, university right now in Sweden and Europe is in financial duress. So I don't think we're going to get much initiative from the university side. It's going to have to be private sector in a very American kind of way, unfortunately. So moving forward at that level. But if I can make another comment, and again, observation going through this many years, I feel that too often we collectively who have experience and have shared experiences in very different geographies and have different stories to tell, but collectively we have suffered similar kinds of violence. We often feel, out of necessity perhaps, because of the lack or the limited availability of not only resources, money and things like that, but also sympathy, I have to say. You talk to people who are very frustrated that in Congo 7 million people have died. In Sudan there's an ongoing war in which powerful interested parties are investing in militias who are instigating mass murder and plunder of natural resources, and you don't hear anything about it. So you talk to people who are from these communities and they feel very frustrated, and for the wrong reasons. And it breaks my heart when they say, well, why are the Palestinians getting all the attention? Or why are these other groups? And you end up having this kind of sad competition for our collective suffering to what seems to be a much more common enemy than what makes us common.
Yeah.
I mean, we share a common victimhood, if you want to play that language, but we seem to have collectively something that we share, and that's the elements who bring violence and destruction to our societies. And I wish we had a Bill Gates who was willing to offer hundreds of billions of dollars, not to make mosquitoes, but to actually rehabilitate human beings and bring some dignity to people who have never a chance to actually demonstrate. They're amazing. They have such rich cultures, but when will anyone from East Congo get a chance to have an audience, let alone someone giving them a hug and saying, we love you? And I'm not saying in any ways pointing fingers at those of us who had, for a moment, success, relatively unspeaking, to share our suffering with others. And others gave us a little bit of a listen. But to me, that's also a very debilitating appreciation for, not in a positive sense, for the limitations we all have in our experiences. There's going to be a moment in time where we're going to have to demonstrate enormous generosity, even though we're not going to get the attention that we think we deserve. And the way the world is organized, if you don't get that kind of institutional support, if you don't get the reporter from CNN, you're doomed. Your heritage, your culture is gone. It's finished. And if you end up being called a terrorist, and your entire society, your entire heritage is criminalized, as that has often happened, that's especially very dangerous at this stage, because it seems there is no restraint anymore for putting embargoes on Cuba and arresting presidents in Venezuela and blowing up beautiful cities in Iran. And so this is my concern. This is my concern.
Very concerning, and I think that's why we need to find these networks and find out how to work internationally. So I'm wondering, Zahra, as a last thing before we let you ask your questions, is when you relocated and when you moved away from Afghanistan, what is your experience like? How can you work when you're in that position, when you have a more international outlook, I suppose, when you're working from here? Or could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I think I wanted to start by these things that I mentioned it in the first thing that I talk about it, that culture is not just something or maybe cultural heritage, not just something that's be like the monuments or the building or something like that. It's more than these things. And for these things, I think it's bring a lot of energy for me and other one that they are in exile to work. Because when we're thinking about our home, it's not just about the place, the street, or the house that we live in. It's all of those things. Especially maybe something so simple, like the tea. The cup of tea that we drink it with our people or maybe neighborhood in some place. It's something like the traditions. But when we come a little bit out of these things, we can bring in about the memory of these things. Every time we remember, okay, I was in Bamiyan, I could ride the bicycle in Bamiyan with other girl, or maybe we could have this program. All those things stronger than before for me, to bring it to me and the other one in exile. We want it to work. We don't want to lose these things. We don't want to forget these things that happened to us. And we don't want, as a human, not more things, as a human, to repeat these kind of things again anywhere of the world. We don't want. And we wanted to stop it. And in exile, as a cultural activist, I found it. If you want to do something like Song of Survival, I think it's possible. When I go to the Allah and Eileen and Maria and ask them, you wanted the song for your people outside your countries? They said yes. Even Maria is from Sweden, but when I asked from Maria and Allah, they say yes. Why? Because we wanted to tell everybody, maybe we don't live now in Afghanistan, but it's part of our voice. And we would go through that, and we want to live with these things here in Sweden. And I wanted to mention these things. We, as an activist, like me and the other one, we want to just be a very, very voice from our country that say the culture is not just something that you could destroy it, or maybe you wanted to do something again, but we will bring it up and make it up for the other one. Now in Sweden, maybe most of the people, or maybe some of those people knows about the Afghansk traditions. It's not just the Buddha-statyerna, it's not just the Museum of Kabul. It's more than this, dance, music, and everything. And we wanted to keep it, and we wanted to protect it, and we wanted to show for everyone. And I'm so interested about the Gaza archive because it's also part of these things. When we every year wanted to have the Night with Buddha, it's not just to say, okay, remember what's happened. We want to say, please learn from this happened before. And we wanted to continue with these things.
That's really food for thought. And yeah. And now it's time for you to ask questions. So Nina over there has a microphone, so you can just give me a hint if you have a question. Anyone? Oh, there's one down there. Could you keep your hand up? Thank you. You shouldn't do this, should I? So please keep your questions short, because I know it's so much to speak about, but it's good if other people can speak as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Inayat Adel. I have 2 comments, no question, so I hope this is okay. First of all, I want to thank Zahra for your continuous struggle and what you have done so far. I think this is the 5th year. So congratulations and thank you, and I'm proud of you as an Afghan. My first comment is regarding you mentioned the destruction of the Buddha statue. And I don't think it was only connected to the Hazara identity or connected to the Hazara Jat. I mean, it was a barbaric action by the Taliban, the hardliners of Taliban in 2001. So I see it, and what I have studied, it was, an barbaric action as Daesh or Taliban, the people who, think as ideological extreme groups. It was not maybe, connected to the identity. I mean, as an Afghan, I'm shamed, I'm embarrassed, and I'm sad. And I think most Afghans are sad about the destruction of the culture, heritage. So this is why more, ideological reason behind that, and that's barbaric. I mean, that their interpretation is very, very narrow-minded, and we see what they are doing in Afghanistan. My second comment is what Isa said a day for Afghanistan. What you have done, Zahra, very good. Thank you for that. I mean, Afghanistan is a very diversified country, as you know, and we have a huge culture richness. So if you could, next year maybe incorporate or add other traditions of Afghanistan and maybe make a more greater day for Afghanistan. Thank you.
Thank you, Anayat. Good idea. So any other questions? Yes, it's one over here, Nina. I will show you over there.
I tend to get nervous a little bit when I'm standing in front of so many intelligent people, so I have written my question. And one thing that struck me that Lotta said about how little we know about Gaza, that's true. We know very little about every conflict that there is in the world. I have worked with storytellers around the world, especially in Afghanistan. If I may exaggerate, I have walked across Afghanistan. I have seen. In fact, the day that Buddhas were destroyed, I was working for United Nations, and we were talking with the Taliban to let a convoy of biscuits for children who were suffering there. Anyway, my question is that when the storytellers, they go to countries like in Gaza or in Afghanistan, they don't hear the reality, or they cannot comprehend the reality, in fact. They are told a sanitized version of what's happening there or what's in people's mind and what they want to say. They tell the sanitized version because they are afraid, they are ashamed. They don't expect that the listener understands. And then that Westerner or that Western storyteller sanitizes it once again through the lens of his or her own understanding. And then that story is sanitized yet the 3rd time. So it is digestible for the readers or listeners in Stockholm, in Berlin, or in London, to make it less gruesome, to make it more commercial. And Isa mentioned a lot of interesting, a lot of factual points, reasons why these things happened, why Buddha was destroyed, why the tablets are gone, why the books are taken. But I think these are all the byproducts. The byproducts, the real reason, we don't know why people do it. We don't know why the Taliban destroyed the Buddha. What do we do about that? What do we do about understanding the real reason? Plundering, selling, smuggling, destroying, these are all the byproducts of it. The real reason, I don't think even the Taliban knew at that time.
Oh, your question is what the real reason would be, or what was more as a comment?
What's the real reason? I think we should try to understand. We should try to bridge this gap of cultural illiteracy, probably.
Yeah, so do you have any comments on that? Yeah?
Thank you, Mr. Adel, for your all those thoughts and thinking about these things. I want to mention these things because I all the time, as a those organizer for A Night with Buddha, and all those groups that work with A Night with Buddha in other cities and other countries, we all the time say culture heritage begin not for just those people that live in Afghanistan or in Bamiyan. It's belong for everyone in the world. First of all the time I say these things to everyone. And I want to say that things that when I mention it, Bamiyan and Hazara community, because when you thought about something destroyed in your space, for example, in Stockholm, who would be maybe the first groups or people that they say, okay, they affected to us, especially those people that lived in Stockholm, not Västerås, not Örebro, not other cities. But I understand about it because I remember these things, and I'm the archaeology students that study in Bamiyan University, and I know it's not just the Buddha statues in Bamiyan, it's in Logar. I know very well about it. And also I know about the other place that Taliban destroyed, it, other monuments and other place, archaeologist place. So I want to mention these things again. I want to say I respect it to all those things and all cultural heritage on the world. And every year you could see these things in A Night with Buddha stage. We invited those people from other diversity of Afghanistan, other ethnic groups from Afghanistan. We not just the Hazara people wanted this. We invited the Malik cities for the first time, and then we invited the other experts from other communities and ethnic group here, and we had a lot of those artists that is playing the musician and everything here on this stage. And I want to say it's not just about these things that Bamiyan or Afghanistan, it belongs for everyone in the world. And thank you, it's part of not just my work, maybe everyone that's now here is part of A Night with Buddha and working with these things.
Yes, so we are about to run out of time, but I just wanted to say, I think it was really interesting with the question about cultural literacy and this, like how you perceive what you see and what story is told and so on, that the last question was about. So do you have any comments on that, maybe? Mark, are you?
Well, I think this question, why it happened, I mean, it's a question we often ask ourselves with atrocities, and I think there's often not one single answer. You often have multiple reasons why these kind of things happen. And if I may pick up on something that Isa said earlier, that often we tend to kind of look at the marginalized or the kind of the rogue states or rogue groups, but sometimes we have to kind of turn the mirror towards ourselves also, and how are we contributing to this? I mean, you were speaking about how we're contributing to the plundering of conflict. I mean, countries or territories in conflict, and so we need to turn the mirror towards ourselves also.
Yeah, maybe that's a very good idea to start here.
Why Afghanistan? Afghanistan is, we're blessed with Afghanistan, but we're also cursed. It's one of the richest countries in the world. It's precisely understood in economic terms for its raw materials, for its potential to produce trillions, as Donald Trump once orated, trillions of dollars of wealth, but it's something that's not for Afghanis to benefit from. It's interested parties in Beijing, in Washington, in Zurich, in London, in Delhi, Islamabad, who seem to have the capacity to destroy Afghanistan, to destroy Yemen, to destroy the Balkans. And that is part of the storytelling that often, what we would call in my arena of academic parlance, context. There's often context is missing when we start kind of regurgitating original stories. and we end up getting the third layer of filtering. A huge problem for historians who use oral resources as well as written sources, something that people who work with archives or who are journalists know very well. You must always have, you must be a reader that is critical of narratives. And that was kind of what I was getting at, is that there are contributing factors to why some resources are plundered or targeted, some resources are considered to be unvaluable and you can do what you want with it. Some countries, like Afghanistan, is the center of great powers' interests for hundreds of years, whether because they take you from one place to the other, or now they know it's one of the richest countries in the world. And that is why it's destroyed. For some people, it's not of importance if heritage is preserved, or if there's even one person left in Afghanistan, as long as those minerals end up in factories and make some people in Zurich and in Sydney, Australia, a lot of money. I'm sorry to put it that way, but we must also know what we're dealing with.
Yes, exactly. I think that's very important, because when we start being critical and start saying our opinions and seeing the traces and the patterns from different angles, then we can start to do something about it, I suppose. So we could go on discussing this forever, but we have to stop. I'm sorry. I hope you can ask later on somehow. So we actually have a small break now for 10 minutes. There's a bar and you can please talk to each other, think about how we can create these alliances and continue to protect cultural heritage. And in 10 minutes, we will have this amazing music show on stage that Zahra has produced in her project, Songs of Survival. So we will just take the break now, and in 10 minutes, Zahra will introduce the musicians, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for something. music part, a very short mingle, and you have this possibility to discuss and talk to each other. So, okay, we now begin the second part of the tonight's program. As I mentioned, the name of this music part is Songs of Survival. Song of Survival bring together women artists from Afghanistan, Ukraine, and Sweden, whose artistic journey are connected to experience of conflict, displacement, identity, resilience, and cultural continuity. Through slow and collaborative performance, tonight artists share musical traditions, personal story, and collective experience of hope, freedom, and human connection. Because music is also an important part of the intangible cultural heritage, these performances help keep cultural memory, artistic traditions, and living cultures visible and alive. We are also grateful to the Bani Anderson Foundation for supporting this project and making this collaboration and performance possible. Tonight's program feature is Elaha Surur, a singer, composer, and activist from the Hazara community from Afghanistan, whose music composing and marginalized communities. Maria Sur, Ukrainian singer and songwriter, currently based in Sweden, whose music reflected resilience, displacement, hope, and personal storytelling through contemporary pop music. Elin Tilos, Swedish singer, youth artist, and actress, whose artistic work is deeply connecting to nature, storytelling, Sami traditions, and the relationship between human beings and the earth. Together with the musicians, Mohammad Rizai, Afghan musicians and dambre player based in Sweden, who has continued sharing Afghan musical tradition through performance and cultural events, and Richard Ostrom, award-winning Swedish pianist, composer, and musical collaborator whose work explore music, healing, artistic dialogue, and intercultural collaboration. And now, it's my great pleasure to invite our first performers to the stage. Please welcome Elin Tilus together with Richard Ostrom. Oh my God, oh my God.
Olegito, thank you. How beautiful that we can spend this time upon earth, this moment upon earth. And we are considering the sacred as life is. And I come from the Arctic Circle on my father's side. And the nature there is so beautiful and rich. And there are many places there that are threatened by forest industries and mining and so on. And I decided to make a joik, which is the traditional way of singing of my people, the Sami people, for the earth and for those sacred places that we all know, that we tend to, that we love, that supports us as earth supports us so beautifully. So this joik is called Ailisle Etnam, and that means sacred is the earth. And it's also for those sacred places within us as human beings upon this earth. So Ailisle Etnam. Thank you so much. And those words were especially for us here tonight. So, yeah. And the music too. Rickard Åström. My grandmother, she got the nickname, a sweet name, Anomano, from her grandfather. And it almost means the child of the moon. And when Anomano was around 5 years old, her mother decided that they should leave Ucha. They should leave their home to seek another life. And we don't really know what she was seeking. Maybe she wanted to protect her daughter. Maybe she was seeking a Swedish life. We don't know. But Anomano's grandfather, he cried and he yoiked her yoik. He didn't know where she was going and if he would ever see her again. So this next song is about that farewell. But it is also a song of the circles of life that has their time. So my father has returned home to Ucha, and so have I. Anno Mano. Jag ser dig gå med din mamma, lämna Ucha. Du ska gå på stigar jag ej känner, bortom skogen, bortom bergen. Älskade barn, älskade barn, Anno Mano, gå inte ifrån mig. Ta mina tårar till gåva på din väg bortom skogar, din morfars jojk till dig. Ta mina tårar till gåva på din väg bortom skogar, din morfars jojk till dig. Hela lilla halleja, lola lilla illa, ja lilla halleja, ja. Hej hej lilla halleja, lola lilla illa, ja lilla halleja, Manacham, Manacham, Anno Mano, Aljedon Mufgoide, Valdemov ganjalit vadon geinon, dobjelinjet si, dovadja voljevaj. Valdemov ganjalit vadon geinon, dobjelinjet si, dovadja voljevaj. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Hear the voice I have inside, even though I'm caught inside a storm. I know I deserve a better life, even though I really miss my home. Baby, I'm not gonna break, I'll fall under the weight, always gonna hold my ground. When I'm standing in the rain, no one's gonna save me from the pain. I will never, never give up. When I'm crying out of chains, out of surrender in my veins, I will never, never give up. What you got is a fighter, and I walk through the fire. I will never, never, never give up. I don't wanna tame the beast inside. Tell me, take what's truly mine. Maybe I'm not gonna break, I won't fall under the weight, always gonna hold my ground. When I'm standing in the rain, no one's gonna save me from the pain. I will never, never give up. When I'm crying out of chains, out of surrender in my veins, I will never, never give up. What you got is a fighter, and I walk through the fire. I will never, never, never give up. When I'm crying in the rain, no one's gonna heal me from the pain. I will never, never give up. I will never, never give up. Oh, 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 oh. I will never, never, never give up.
Tack så mycket. Thank you so much. I would love to sing a song, my next song for you. It's a Ukrainian song. I hope you would love it.
Темно, так темно. Здається, що в тих стінах я залишилась одна, тихо і нестерпно. Я затумую подих, щоб надію не зникати, бо так треба, щоб не зневіритися у невіру до кінця. Триматися треба, поки б'ється серця. Крізь тріщини з нами, крізь рідні уламки, розсипе світло тьму. Зруйновані храми, страху тумани, мить розійдуться. воно злітне, світло на мене. Воно буде, де правда, і справжня розрада, і горе позаду, і знаю впаду. Воно світи не замить мене у темну мить, крізь тріщини злами, крізь ріни уламки, розсипе світло тьму, зруйновані храми і страху тумани вмить розійдуться. Світло надає нам, що буде завтра. Світло надає, вилікує рани. Світло надає, що з нами буде правда. Світло надає нам, що буде завтра. Світло надає, вилікує рани. Що з нами буде правда. Здається, що в цих стінах я залишилась одна, тихо і нестерпно. Я затримую подих, щоб надія не зникати.
Tack så mycket.
Ballet? Ballet one? Hello? Okay, I think this is my mic. Shall I speak Farsi? It feels like it, right? همگی فارسی بلدن اکثرا درسته دستخ بالا کن کسی که فارسی بلده. Oh wow. And how many people don't understand Farsi? Okay, yes, still considerable. Tonight we're going to perform with Muhammad Rezai, our friend who based here in Stockholm, some folk music from Hazara people and some original songs. And the first song that I'm going to perform called Rafiq Jan. And it's a love song written by Abe Mirza. And I hope you enjoy it. Yeah.
شیری وی از مالا پرسیدم پروا ندارم جلای چشم تو گیرایی داره وی دلم از پس تو دیده تنگی داره بیا جانان که رویت را ببینم وی که کار عاشقی به رنگی داره ستاره جلجلی پالوی افته و خودم سرخ و سفید یارم سیاتم ستاره جلجلی پالوی افته و خودم سرخ و سفید یارم سیاتم ستاره جلجلی پالوی افته و خودم سرخ و سفید یارم سیاتم تشکر. آهنگ بعدی گل صدبرگ است از آبه میرزا. The next song called Gul Sadbarg. It's a song by a female Hazara singer from central Afghanistan. She started her career as a folk musician and singer, songwriter and dambura player in Molistan. And eventually she got persecuted by the fundamentalists for being a female singer. And she spent 2 years of her life in prison for being a female singer. And when she was released, there was a civil war and she stopped singing. But this is one of her iconic songs that she sang about how lonely she felt being among the people that know her the most. گل صد برگ تابستان و میار فرار از ملک مالستان و میار فرار از ملک مالستان و میار از آن روزی که گشتم از وطن دور جگر پر درد و دل نالان و میار جگر پر درد و دل نالان و مسلمانا در این شهر شمایم غریب و بی کس و بی آشنایم غریب و بی کس و بی آشنایم چلم پر کو بده بار مسافر که امشو اینجی و فردا کجایم که امشو اینجی و فردا کجایم دلم از دود تنباکو سیایم اگه باور نداری نیگوایم اگه باور نداری نیگوایم اگر باور نداری نیره بشکن تمام پرده های نی سیایم تمام پرده های نی سیایم برگ تابستانو گل صد برگ تابستانو فرار از ملک مالستانو گل صد برگ تابستانو ای گل صد برگ تابستانو ای یار 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 ای یار ای یار گل صد برگ تابستانو ای یار فرار از ملک مالستانو ای یار فرار از ملک مالستانو ای یار از آن روزی که گشتم از وطن دور جگر پر درد و دل نالانو ای یار جگر پر درد و دل نالانو ای یار تشکر ابروی کج کشیدم.
At this point, I would like to invite Richard on piano and keyboard, please, on the stage again. Dear Ellen, back on the stage. And Maria. Mayek, we created this song just for this specific event, and we just practiced it today, and I feel very connected to each single of you, and I'm so glad to have you so we can perform this piece together.
دختر بر سری بود و دو دختر وی رها در خیش آن بالا دو دختر دو دختر بر سری بود و دو دختر وی رها در خیش آن بالا دو دختر چه خوش سر داده بادم باره آواز بوی دو سرگردان دو تا تنها دو دختر چه خوش سر داده بادم باره آواز بوی دو سرگردان دو تا تنها دو دختر چه سر داده بادم باره آواز بود دو سرگردان دو تا تنها دو دختر بندی دل شما من میخوانم بله سال چه غم نامه میخوانن وی از بندی دل شما من میخوانم میاد یاد شما من شبی تار وی چه طالب ها که شب نامه میخوانم میاد یاد شما من شبی تار چه طالب ها که شب نامه میخوانم خدایا روز بعد پس نیاری وی جایی انقا گل من دست نیاری گل لاله گل بولو به رویان وی در جایی لاله خار و خس نیاری خدایا روز بعد پس نیاری وی جایی انقا نیاری گل لاله گل بلو به رویان وی جای لاله خار و خس نیاری خدایا روز بعد پس نیاری جایی انقا دل من دست نیاری گل لاله گل بلو به رویان وی جایی لاله خار و خس نیاری جایی لاله خار و خس نیاری Tashakkur. Thank you so much. Just before we finish our event with the last song that we're going to perform together, I would like to invite you to get one of these beautiful scarves that made by Hazara women. At the moment, women, they cannot go to work or have different kind of jobs, so mostly they stay at home and this is their diary. And I'm so pleased that I have one of these beautiful ones. And if you like, you can find a chadar gach, and I have some LPs, and just get yourself a souvenir from this beautiful event. Thank you.
So now let's join in the hope and the future for our children. This is a yoik. It's Indira's yoik. And Indira, she's a girl and she dances free upon the earth. And she follows where her feet leads her. And she is new into this world. And she dances wild upon earth. And she is the daughter of the sun and the child of the wind. And she makes the world anew and anew and anew. So you are so welcome to Joik Along, and you will hear it. It's very, very easy. So Indira. Mana odos muhta veralda. Hey yo lona lei lei lo. 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 Hey yo väg. Hon är här i världen. Indira dansar vill på jorden, full av lust och äventyr. Solens dotter, vindens barn. Hon gör hela världen ny. Hej och låna, lej, lej, lå. Hej och låna, lej, lej, lå. Hej och Are you ready? Let's join, let's sing for the freedom of our children and for the future generation, and bring the hope, the joy. joy and love here. So, Indira. Beautiful.
Please stand and clap our three strong women and three voices from different worlds. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. This evening would not be held without you and your participation. So thank you so much. Thank you, Rizai. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Alaha. Thank you, Aline. Thank you, Richard, and everyone that would be here. And also thank you so much, Osa, Nina, and those technicians that work as well so much with us in these 50 years. And also I want to say thank you, Kulturhuset, for your all the time support and collaboration, and also thank you Stockholm University, and also thank you Benny Andersson Foundations. So thank you so much, and I hope you're enjoying after this time. We have very short mingle, and you have time to maybe have some chat with each other, and I hope we see you again next year. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's not just me, it's now is a family, me, Hayat, and Diana. And thank you everyone for have this very good evening. Thank you.